I would rather live in the ambiguity of not having any idea what this means. 4 days, 3 days? I don't know which day it is for Americans, but y'all are about to lose the TikTok.
That if their app is going down,
they were able to ban this app before they were able to do anything about Flint, Michigan. They were able to agree on banning this app before giving aid to Puerto Rico. Forget the medical industry or the fact that they haven't done anything to solve school shootings.
40,000 Americans die every single year because they can't afford fucking health insurance, but our government's worried about an app.
Where is our rage? Where is the anger that should come with this moment?
Help, please! Children are dying! Help! How do we stop this?
Okay, gosh, look here. We just signed this. This should help everything. Take it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We needed a real change. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
I've already decided to ban TikTok on opening up a Chinese bank account. Yeah, you don't want them to have my information, I'm gonna fund their fucking country, you stupid whack ass bitch. Because my thing is this, most of the shit that we buy already comes from China anyway. Let's just cut the middle.
This app has enabled me to raise over $90,000 for various charities and people in my time here.
Fuck you, U.S. government.
How fucking...
If you didn't know this, yesterday, a pretty wild thing happened. I didn't expect it. I was just scrolling through the stories, and then all of a sudden I see this thing where it's like, hey, did you know the #1 app in North America right now happens to be the Chinese alternative to TikTok? Yes, it's called REDNote. Why is it called REDNote? Well, it's based on Mao's Red Book. So let's just say an even more communist and an even more Chinese app suddenly is dominating. It's the #1 app on the app stores in North America right now. I happened to download it because I was curious about what is going on here, what's going on. And what I found actually was shockingly wholesome. Not all of it, okay? I'm not, before I gotta get ahead of this story and tell everybody, before I get all the accusations of, oh, Lance has gone full tanky. Tanky much? Didn't know Lance was the tankiest of the tankers. I'll have you know, all right? First and foremost, I am blocked by the 4 horsemen of the Tankopolis, okay? Jackson Hinkle, he blocked me. Yeah, that's right. Infrared, he blocked me as well. The Spanky Tanky, Caleb Maupin, he's blocked me as well. Peter Coffin, all of them blocked me like the cowards they are. They refuse to take my memes in stride. I go pretty hard on them. It's because they're so funny though. They're fun. I also made, okay, I would say the most and foremost video on tankies, the tanky phenomenon, and the whole like people doing what I consider tankies, people who are doing just outright apologetics for shitty things that happened under, say, Stalin's regime or Mao's. You can talk about history with nuance. You can talk about, well, here's some incredible things. You do have to acknowledge that, like, you're talking about countries that underwent multiple revolutions. They went from being, under, say, a Russian Tsar and a monarchy, effectively, into 2 revolutions, and then suddenly, a couple years later, in a matter of centuries, they were able to industrialize at such a rapid rate that it certainly is something that you should actually look at and not simply be like, that bad. Well, what elements of it actually were effective at pulling people, say, out of mass poverty, or in the case of China, pulling like literally millions and millions of people out of mass poverty. Now, does that mean that it's okay to have forced labor camps? No, you can talk about things and also acknowledge that, hey, by the way, history is not simply good guy, bad guy, good guy. All right. But yes, I made an entire video on it. So I am tanky proof, absolutely tanky proof. I just want to put that out there. You cannot come at me for that. You can go watch the video, youtube.com/theserfstv. I got a whole video on the whole tankies. We're done with that. Now that the disclaimer is out of the way. The most darling thing that I saw taking place when I downloaded REDNote was a whole bunch of people from America. I'm talking thousands of people from America and thousands of people from China who had never talked to each other before, had never had conversations, had never hung out, had never just sat down, ignoring all of the minutiae that you see from the Fox News. The Chinese communists are coming to kill us all and spread COVID, and we need to destroy them, and the empire will take over. Beware the sleeping dragon wakes and all that bullshit. What happens when it's just like people talking to people, hanging out? Wouldn't you know it? everyone was having an amazing, wholesome time. They were all memeing together. They were sharing cat photos. They were sharing dog photos. Some people were sharing videos of red pandas. There was an unbelievable amount of like just people being like, I'm just curious. I've never had a chance to actually speak to a person in China. What's this like? And they were getting beautiful responses. There were people being absolutely savage, like just, I mean, dragging people for filth when they would do something wild. And then all of a sudden, like, I got a bunch of it to show you, but like, there's not normally, I haven't seen a cultural exchange like this between two societies that don't often just get to sit down face to face and be like, hey, how's it going? And then recognize, wow, we have a lot more in common than we were led to believe. Like, honestly, I've got more in common with a worker in China than I do with any fucking billionaire in Canada, you know? Like, in terms of, like, hey, what's your day-to-day? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? That kind of stuff. Well, that's what's happening. It's happening on a just huge scale. You're just seeing people sharing endless amounts of memes, endless amounts of videos. You know what else I learned from going on there? Holy fuck, are they ever obsessed with Luigi? Like, if you thought Luigi was some kind of, like, you know, folk hero here in North America, ain't got nothing on China. In China, he's a god. When people were like, why are there so many memes about Luigi? Everything from people, like, doing these elaborate, like, you know, intricate gardens where they've made his face out of rocks and stuff like that, to other people doing intricate art where they've, like, made his face out of, like, coffee foam and things like that. Everyone is like, why are y'all so obsessed with Luigi? You'll see these little posts that go right underneath it. And they're usually like, there's a proverb, he who brings wood to the fire for those freezing to death should not suffer in shame, or things like that. Or like, he who brings food for the poor should not himself be punished. You know, things like that. It's like, yes, he is trying to help other common folk. He is trying to help Americans realize how they are suffering under the private healthcare system. Like, oh my God, I had no idea that this entire phenomenon was happening, because I don't often just interact with, you know, Chinese social media at all. I don't have the apps. I don't go on them. I'm not blah, blah, blah. Before everyone gets too excited and everyone is like, okay, so is this just the future? Are we all just jumping ship from, say, all social media and now downloading every single, like, you know, Chinese-made alternative to everything instead of, like, you know, PayPal? I'm going to do Alibaba, etc. Just so you all know, if you happen to be LGBTQ plus, anything is not allowed on REDNote. And yeah, surprise, surprise. If you didn't know that, that's the reality. So no, it's not all perfect. This isn't like some fairy tale. It's not as if you're going to go to that app. You're not in contrast to that, you're not going to see libs of Redbook, you know, or I forget how you pronounce it, libs of Xiangsheng, because at the end of the day, you know, she can't exist on a platform where she doesn't get to exploit queer folk all day. So there's not going to be that. But I just want to put that out there and put that forward and foremost before anyone is suddenly just like, oh, okay, so I should download the app. Well, if you're going to be posting about LGBTQ plus stuff, you cannot. So just so you know, if you happen to be a woman who is going to be dressing in anything other than, like, I don't think you're even allowed to show, like, shoulder skin or something like that. There's that as well. Just so you're aware. I'm just putting that out there. I don't want people to suddenly download it and then have their accounts deleted within 24 hours and then they're like, hey, what the fuck happened? But I think the bigger note here is not so much the, you know, censorship of the app or anything like that. It's the just like how rare it is to see people being able to just talk to people from completely different countries, completely different ethnicities, to all sit down on a scale like this. You don't normally see where all of us, because it's a flood. It's called the TikTok refugee. They're calling themselves TikTok refugees. And so that's like a hashtag on the platform. There's just been like a wave of people who just went right over. And then so all of a sudden out of nowhere, boom, it exploded. Thousands and thousands of new accounts made, thousands and thousands of Americans uploading content. And I will give you this, America, being very respectful. People have been making tons of videos about, don't be racist on here. This is not your app. This is their app. So I don't want to see you making racist comments and talking about, like, you know, the Kung flu and all that kind of shit. Don't do that stuff around here. Be nice, be respectful. Within like a 24-hour turnaround, most American accounts that started using Mandarin or Cantonese subtitles on their videos out of respect. Also very wholesome and nice to see. Those kind of things are beautiful, you know, that people would do that. And a lot of questionnaires. People being like, I'm an American, ask me anything, and then having, you know, obviously a whole bunch of Chinese people ask questions, or in the inverse, you know, Chinese people being like, hey, I'm from China, ask me anything, and then having a whole bunch of questions from Americans fill in, and then those fill in the inverse. So that's pretty much been, like, you know, the summary of it so far. But anyways, I'm going to rewind for 2 seconds and just learn a little bit about, and watch some more memes that people are saying about TikTok, because this shit is entirely true. All right. It sucks to see. You hate it when there's so much fucked up stuff going on in the world. People are screaming for healthcare, saying, please help. And, you know, sometimes it feels like the government isn't able to pass any comprehensive spending bills unless they're giving billions of dollars to Israel. You know, that's where all of a sudden it's like, oh, so do we have, you know, the ability to reach across the aisle, to work with the other side, to agree upon something? Yeah. And when it comes to raising the minimum wage, nah. When it comes to Medicare for all, nah. Green New Deal, no, that's hippie communist bullshit. We're not doing that. But yeah, what, $20 billion more for Israel? $40 billion? $100 billion. $100 billion more? $60 trillion. Whatever they need. It's important.
Funny would it be if they ban TikTok and then we all move to the actual Chinese version of TikTok?
Even if it was just done as a joke, that's really funny. Well done, America. All right. I don't often get to say that, but that's profoundly funny that y'all did that. I don't know what the demographics are. I don't know if it was overwhelmingly Gen Z. I don't know if like it was millennials leading the charge. Who's ever responsible, that's funny. That's funny, okay? That's classic internet comedy. There are times when the internet, you see, brings the best of humanity together, and it gives me hope. Like, I don't know if you all remember when Scarlett Johansson fell, and then within like 24 hours, there was just so many memes of her riding a dolphin with that funny face that she was making while she fell, and then other people making her fly through space and stuff like that. And you're like, so much creativity, so much time. There's no capitalism behind this. People are just doing this for comedy and love, and to share the joy that they felt seeing that one little moment in time with other people and turn it into other things and then make variations upon variations, and then someone picks up a ukulele and is singing a theme song based on one of the memes they saw, and then next thing you know, someone is turning that into some digital game, and you're like, I don't know where the starting point was on all this, but it's beautiful when you see just like the creativity of humanity spiral, especially when you're just doing it for funsies, right? This is one of those things. People will create. Yes, I believe that in my soul.
You just heard from creators on TikTok who are coming to terms with the fact that the app that they've used for years now is about to be taken away from them for completely arbitrary reasons. And as you saw, they not only reject the bullshit excuses our government used as a justification for this ban, but they also took note of the fact that banning TikTok was prioritized before any meaningful policies that would actually help them survive. So people know what's going on. They're wide-eyed about how corrupt and frankly how evil our government is, and not all of the people that you heard from are even explicitly political, which suggests that a lot of apolitical people are becoming radicalized as a result of this ban, which is ironic since another reason why they said we couldn't have TikTok was because it was supposedly radicalizing us. Turns out, taking it away was the real catalyst for radicalization. So good job, politicians. You played that one real well. But remember, they never wanted to ban the app from us. They said that they wanted to make it better because they care about us and they care about what we want.
This is not an attempt to ban TikTok. It's an attempt to make TikTok better. Tic-tac-toe. A winner. A winner.
So that turned out.
Whoa, I didn't even remember that. I pushed it into like, you know, the cringe ether. Just so cringe. I was hoping it would be in like the nether cringe where I would never have to think of it again. But yeah, that happened.
To be a load of complete horseshit. Predictably so. Now, at the time that I record this video, TikTok is set to be banned on January 19th, which is this Sunday, unfortunately. And as absurd as it sounds to say this, the Supreme Court really was TikTok's last hope. But I'll be honest, it just doesn't look good. And I say this because the Supreme Court heard oral arguments recently about the ban, and here's how that went. As Eloise Goldsmith of Common Dreams explains, during oral arguments, justices across the ideological spectrum asked tough questions of both sides, but the overall tone and thrust appeared to suggest greater skepticism toward the arguments by lawyers for TikTok and its users that the First Amendment barred Congress from enacting the law, according to Friday reporting from the New York Times. Yeah, so they're likely not going to side with TikTok, even though Donald Trump explicitly asked them to, even if it is for self-serving reasons. But I mean, it was a last-ditch effort, and it's probably not going to amount to much. With that being said, the silver lining was that the court seemingly wasn't convinced by the idea that the Chinese government might covertly use the app to steal data or manipulate Americans into hating America. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But the fact that our highest court didn't automatically side with TikTok when this is a pretty clear-cut First Amendment issue kind of shows you how not so supreme the court has become. And this speaks to the illegitimacy of our entire government more broadly. Now, on that note, I do want to get back to the TikTokers here because many of them responded to the notion that the Chinese Communist Party was using TikTok to radicalize them. And one response in particular thoroughly dismantled that argument. And I want to show that for you right now.
Fascist countries ban apps and websites under the guise of threats to national security, when every other country knows it's about suppressing the free speech of its citizens. If the government believes that a single app could, quote from the hearing on the 10th, skew the perspective of American citizens to be anti-American, maybe the real problem is that American citizens are already in such a state of political unrest and unhappiness.
Did you see the right-wingers? Oh, sorry, I won't keep you in a bad frame. Oh, that one's bad too.
Our government is...
Okay, that one's nice. Did you see the right-wingers losing their shit to this video? Just being like, if you love China so much, why don't you marry it? If you love China so much, why don't you kiss China? Yeah, if you love China so much, and that wasn't the point. Jesus Christ. How do you on one hand consistently vilify all these other countries and talk about them as being like these authoritarian regimes where they don't have free speech? And by the way, China is a key example of that. If you go, because I have the REDNote app, if you go on it, you can't post videos about, say, Tiananmen Square. You can't post videos about LGBTQ plus issues. They have censorship. Things that you oppose, correct? Things that I oppose. I oppose censorship. I oppose the censorship of knowledge, information, history, queers. Like that to me is a bad thing. So why on one end are you doing this and it's just distinctly a company that is created by a Chinese corporation? Like if you want to regulate social media, we're talking the same language, baby. Like I'm on board. I want to. I totally agree with you. We should rein in these tech companies. Shit has gotten nuts. All right, it's gotten out of control. People are saying the weirdest, wackiest stuff. Relatives who used to be pretty normal 10 years ago now come up to me and say, "Hey, by the way, Lance, I've done my research." Oh no. What does that mean? What are you going to tell me? Oh no. What? No. Vaccines don't make you fly. Please don't jump off a bridge because you took the vaccine and you think you're Magneto now. Don't do it. You can't. This is not how the world works. Oh God damn it. We've lost so many people. I feel like Facebook has ruined so many minds. But hey, at the same time, good thing you finally got rid of TikTok. The thing that apparently Gen Zers love using and posting. They post cute dog videos, they post dance videos, they post song videos. I personally have ADHD, and so I don't use TikTok because it hurts my brain. But my partner loves it, and she does this selective thing where she'll like curate TikTok for me, and then at the end of the night she can share the funniest and cutest TikToks. And they're darling, okay? The animal ones are darling, the musical ones blow my mind, the fitness ones are pretty incredible too. Like people just doing things I didn't know the human body could do. And I'm like, wow, look at this creativity. Just people have an urge to have creative expression. It would be nice if they could live off it. It would be nice if they could actually share some of the wealth. And they're like, well, we created the creator fund. No, that doesn't pay the bills. We don't have it in Canada. You know how much I make off TikTok? It's zero. This is a big $0. Zero. No monies. I don't make monies off of the TikTok.
Scared a single foreign influence could tip the scale and have it all be over. Don't you think that by taking away the, and I quote, key communications channel of Americans, it's gonna make those 170 million Americans a little more anti-American? Maybe Congress knows and understands that. Maybe the government.
And also, I gotta say, based on just seeing people interact from these two countries for the first time on a mass scale that's happening right now with all the Americans joining REDNote, it has been pretty nuts to see that, like, that's something that I think a lot of people were worried about too, is when people are just having everyday conversations with people, it's shockingly wholesome. Like over in China, they're all memeing that they want to steal our data. Like every single time someone would post something, they would post memes of like a cat with a gun pointed at them and like, give me your data. Give me your data, Americans. Like things like that.
The government knows that the backlash it will receive from banning TikTok does not outweigh the threats that come with its existence. Not in a matter of national security, but in a matter of being the most popular news and media outlet that the government cannot control, like American-owned broadcasting networks and publications. Maybe, if this was actually a national security concern, the government would be banning all Chinese-developed apps, like Shein and Temu, that collect the exact same amount of data as TikTok.
Not Temu. What? But then how am I going to have casino-like gambling that makes me want to shop for things? Honestly, Temu is ridiculous. I don't know how people use that, honestly. So someone was like, you should just try it once just to see so you can talk about it. I was like, okay, fine. I will, for the first time ever, download the Temu and see what the hype's all about. You're getting basically, it's like Dollarama products, except you buy them through a casino incentivized gambling system. So like you log in and it's like, congratulations, you have won 99% off. Oh, that's, whew, how fortuitous. What a great day for me. I wasn't feeling lucky today, but I mean, the fates have aligned. Here we are. Look at the stars. They shine upon me. Okay, so I get 99% off. The next 20 products. Whoa. I mean, what? And then once I do that, I get the double triple. I get 37% off the next 100 items. And if I do it within the next 20 minutes, that upgrades to 95% off the next 100 items. What? I haven't even bought anything yet, but I'm already gambling. It took me like 20 minutes to pick a thing. Don't worry, I didn't order anything, but it took me like 20 minutes just to pick something after I had gone through all the gambling shit. And I was like, you must realize that this is really bad for humans, just across, like, this is bad for humanity, all right? We are forcing people to have useless consumer items that we do not need. There was nothing on there that I was like, oh, I could really, really benefit from having one of these things, but I'm like, well, I gotta select something to be able to get through to the next prompt, and then all of a sudden it's incentivizing us through gambling mechanics. There's lottery wheels, there's fucking, you know, pick the prize, there's this, there's that, and then you're just like, oh, wow, I'm gambling good, I've gotten so many savings, and at the very end of it, it's like, don't pay shipping on anything for the next 4 centuries. Why do I have to keep using this fucking thing? Blah, blah, blah. And then at the end of the day, you've loaded your box with like 40 products you do not need. Society doesn't need. I'm sure they're very destructive to produce and then manufacture and then just fucking send out there. I have other people who are like, oh, I use Temu, but because it's so hard to fill your box without having to go through all the gambling, I have to contact my friends to ask if they need anything so I can pick more items because I keep winning and they keep offering me more shit. Like, what a nightmare it is. But nothing's happening about that. Absolutely no one needs to regulate that or make sure that people stop using it.
Because maybe it knows TikTok is something special. You can't politically organize on Temu. If TikTok goes dark, the government deliberately and knowingly took away your free speech.
That is precisely it. And what she's saying isn't overly cynical or hyperbolic because multiple politicians have admitted that. For example, Senator Mitt Romney and War Criminal Secretary of State Antony Blinken discussed how difficult it is to control the narrative with regard to the Gaza genocide that they're doing, in part because of TikTok. Because when you go on TikTok, it is disproportionately pro-Palestine and anti-Israel. Now, I would argue that that's because people who use the app are young and they're just already pro-Palestine and they're not becoming pro-Palestine because of the app. The app is
Lies. I didn't know that I would have to put this fucking propagandist on screen here right now, but did you not hear? Nancy May said that there's an actual equation. For every minute that you use TikTok, you become like 20% more anti-Semitic. They can maths the maths, all right? There's an equation for this, and that's why people need to know how insidious it is. So, this happens. I want to know how to pronounce this. Learn to pronounce. I assume it means REDNote. Little Red Book.
Xiaohongshu.
Oh, Xiaohongshu. Xiaohongshu, known as REDNote, has hit #1 on the US App Store, following the news of possible TikTok bans on January 19th. And so what has happened, again, like I said, is this just massive cultural exchange I did not foresee occurring between these two nations, where, again, just thousands and thousands of people are interacting for the first time ever. A lot of them happen to be in very wholesome ways. I'll show you some of the strange, but, like, look at this, what happened right away.
Hey friends from TikTok, I am Abe from China.
And I just want to say it's so amazing to have you here. For so long, we haven't really been able to connect or talk to each other like this. But now we finally can, and it feels so special. This is such a real chance for us to really get to know each other and maybe create something amazing together. It's not always easy. We are from different place, different culture, and yeah, there are policy issues too. But that's exactly what makes it so exciting. So yeah, I just want to say you are not just welcome here. I really, really hope you will stay.
Now, you could say, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people being like, well, of course, Lance, that was a CCP agent who was doing that to make the Americans feel welcome so that they start using it more, and then immediately he's going to start asking for their fucking social security numbers. It's just a matter of time. There's so many CCP agents. Did you know that there's millions of them? Millions! The whole thing is an op! And I was like, well, okay, you couldn't have seen that this was going to happen unless you had banned TikTok in the first place. And so Americans doing this again, America, this is one of the few things you've done in recent memory that is absolutely not only darling but hilarious. Just doing it out of spite is really funny. Just like a complete spite download and then bumping it up to number one app on the App Store. That part is pretty wild. There's, you know, more silly ones like this.
I know y'all too well. When you say you came over to this app wanting to learn some Chinese, you ain't even got a Chinese keyboard on your phone. But it's okay. Don't worry about that. Right now, I'm going to teach you 3 Chinese expressions, and you can even type them out. I know y'all.
Now, he's probably just memeing, again, because he's part of the fucking Chinese Communist Party looking to indoctrinate everyone. There's thousands of videos like this, and I can't stop watching them and trying to decipher what they mean. I'm sorry, but this was designed for me. All right, this is my kind of gibberish. I don't want to learn what this is about. Okay, if you're gonna be like, oh, Lance is actually advertising like a ramen noodle or something, I don't care. No, do not explain it. I would rather live in the ambiguity of not having any idea what this means. There's deep fried as we are. See, that's been the beautiful thing. All right, that's why I was like, I want to be fair and or balanced and actually be transparent about this and say that yes, well, you know, that there is 100% the censorship of LGBTQ plus issues and or topics. Not to mention, you know, there's only a certain amount of clothing that women can wear when they do their videos, etc. There are rules on this app, as there are rules here, and some of those rules I profoundly disagree with, for example. But the beautiful thing to have seen that is happening here, again, is a mass cultural exchange between two groups of people that have a lot more in common than they might think. Like, in order sometimes for the mass manufacturing of consent for us to go to war with other nations, the other people have to be completely dehumanized and othered or grouped into one giant monolith, as in, like, every single person in China wants to destroy America. Every single one of them is part of the empire that wants to take over the world. You have to stop them. The sleeping dragon is going to rise. You know, the shit you hear from, like, Republicans and fucking warmongers and shit like that. When you get through it and you actually allow people to talk to each other, yeah, we're all just being silly on the fucking internet. That seems to be at the core of this. Some of their jokes have been pretty ruthless. Some of the, like, there's the wholesome ones where people are like, Americans, please help me with my homework, and people are like, 1C, 2D, 3. Like, I will introduce my dog to every foreigner. Cute picture of a dog. Is it true that Americans have to work 2 jobs to survive? We all just want to meme. It's what unites us. This was posted by a Chinese account. What were some of the other good ones? Yeah, there's the thousands of videos like that. I don't have any other ones. They're just like us. No offense, first of all, a green hat means your wife or husband cheats on you. So funny. Red hats are bad in the US because of MAGA. That's hilariously awesome. Glad I know not to wear a green hat. What about a black hat? It's like a mass cultural exchange, you know? Americans making their way to REDNote. I haven't seen this one.
Ooh, this is nice.
I did have one other one.
Some English name has terrible meanings in Chinese. See if your name is among them. Number 1, Ben sounds like a Ben in Chinese, means stupid. Number 2, Emma sounds like Aima, means get scolded. Number 3, Bruce sounds like 不如死, means rather die. Number 4, Kenny sounds like 坑你, means cheat you. Number 5, Nicole sounds like 你抠, means you are stingy. Number 6, Nicholas sounds like 你可拉屎, means you can take a dump. Number 7, Andrew sounds like 俺猪, means my pig. Number 8, Evans sounds like 爱闻屎, means love to
小红书
Oh, Evans got it so bad. Sorry to all the Evans out there watching right now. Yeah, no, it's honestly it's been fantastically wholesome. I did not expect it when I was scrolling through. I thought it was going to be mostly just like videos in a language I don't know Mandarin or Cantonese, so I didn't think I'd be able to understand any of them. But it's now there's just like a surplus of videos that happen to be, you know, obviously Chinese people making videos in you know, English and or with subtitles underneath them to try and appeal to, you know, the new influx of American you know, people joining. And also shout out to all the American TikTokers who have joined, who are adding subtitles to their videos immediately out of respect. They've been like, hey, by the way, my fellow you know, TikTok refugees, if you're on this app, please, you got to play by their rules and just know that like it is majority speaking either Mandarin or Cantonese. It would be really respectful if you put subtitles at the bottom of your videos. And then people started doing that. I was like, this part of the story is all beautiful to me. All right, it really is. I like, again, so many people believe the mythos of like, you know, nation states are their nations themselves, right? And I talk shit 24/7 on this show about the American empire. You might have noticed if you've watched me before, you'll notice I talk a lot of shit. But I love Americans. That's the difference, you know? It's the same thing with, like, I talk shit about the Canadian fucking empire all the time. And I love Canadians. I do. And like, people in America sometimes have bought so much into so much of the Red Scare stuff and just believing consistently that, like, China is an existential threat to not only, you know, our geopolitical ambitions, but the world. And they're going to do all this shit. But it's like, but does the average everyday person who is both growing up and learning at school and then using the internet and playing video games and getting a job, do they not probably have a lot of the same struggles as the working class at home? Of course they fucking do. Absolutely they do. Honestly, that's just the reality. Like, there are some lefties and American lefties who are getting just, like, you know, completely destroyed online on social media right now by saying, like, they don't want to see, like, all of America burn. And then a lot of people in other countries like, the empire must fall, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know, you're talking about like 38 million people. Like, the solution to this is not to just hope that America self-nukes or something like that. It's to genuinely try to awaken people, to talk to them and realize that, like, yeah, we're all on this planet together. We are on this little rotating rock around the sun. We got to figure out a way, especially when it comes to climate change, to love each other. If we don't find a way to do that, then ultimately we will perish. It is a societal testing event. We need to collaborate collectively, globally, to be able to stop our own destruction of society through extraction and production and use of fossil fuels. That requires everyone to get on the same page. Nothing is making people, I guess, become frenzies quicker than just talking to each other and memeing and sharing cats and stuff like that. That part is actually pretty cute. And it has been nice to see. And like I said, they are obsessed with Luigi. Like, it was just weird. Like, okay, so I don't have an algorithm that would know anything about me yet, right? Like, they don't know that my particular politics, or if I'm into this, or if I like dog videos or anything. And if you're just scrolling through it, I was like, hey, Luigi. I didn't know they knew who he was. Oh, another Luigi. Fan art of Luigi. Really intricate fan art of Luigi. The entire dance songs, what? And the whole song, a Luigi song. What? Luigi. Holy shit. I think they love Luigi more than Americans do. And it's not because they like, you know, most people would assume that it's like, oh yeah, because he killed an American CEO, and that's because, like, you know, the Chinese communists want them to kill No, when you look at the comments, they're all just like these really noble quotes. That's like, the translation's mixed, but it's, you know, I saw someone be like, there's a proverb here that everyone believes of him, like, he who brings wood to those who freeze in the cold deserves not to freeze himself, and things like that. Or he who brings food to the starving should not himself go starving. He, like, blah blah blah. Like, a lot of it seemed to be like, you know, adoration of the very kind of folk hero aspect of you know, who he is.
Can download in the App Store, and because this legislation is just targeting ByteDance, I'm pretty sure after January 19th, REDNote will still be available in the App Store. How fucking funny would it be if they ban TikTok and then we all move to the actual Chinese version of...
See, how can you hate Americans? This was so funny. That was such a good move. Yes.
TikTok. Like, would that not be the biggest fuck you to the government ever? Of like, oh, you're going to take TikTok away because you're worried about Chinese security threats? Just to show you how little we give a fuck, we are going to move to the actual Chinese version of this app. I don't think it solves the monetization concern for TikTok creators, but as an act of protest, holy shit, would this be so fucking funny.
That would be funny indeed. And guess what? It's actually happening. REDNote is now the #1 app in the App Store at the time that I record this video, and I've personally seen multiple TikTokers I follow announce that they're moving to REDNote as well. So there's that, but there's more, because TikTokers have made it clear that if their app is going down, they're not moving to Reels on Instagram, which is kind of seen as the main competitor.
To answer the questions, yes, I have started an account. I have 27 fans. Look at that, 27 fans. The only video I posted using it was one in which I couldn't turn the filter off. It's just stuck in the cat filter and makes you look like a freckled child. I couldn't talk either. Yeah, it's just got the soundtrack in the background. It's basically me just saying, how do I turn off the filter? It's over. It's over. That's all I gotta say. Just nobody compete with this. All right. There's just it's impossible. They're not going to be able to do it. I am sorry. We all have to accept that, you know, China won.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. This independent series is made entirely possible thanks to our patrons. It was produced by Anna Loves Riley, Arian McCarthy, Bobby Lasers, Cheryl Alvarez, Comrade Junkie, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, Jimmy Sombrero, Multimongi, Omni, Political Papi, Preston Kroll, Quiet 185, Richard Boehm, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Cernicus, Stellar Gwyn, Sebastian Demmel, and Words Greenwood. Not to mention all the other patrons you now see on screen. We couldn't have done this show without you. If you can help support the show, please check out patreon.com/theserfs to unlock bonus secret episodes as well as get the content before anyone else.